Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Friday, April 25th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. President Trump with a terse message for Russian President Vladimir Putin when it comes to attacks on Ukraine. What he said in his own words, and the efforts later today to bring about some sort of peace agreement. And more trade talk. China makes a move when it comes to the tariff standoff with the Trump administration. The apparent rollback that is getting attention this morning, but the mixed messages on negotiations.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
As President Trump looks to fulfill a major campaign promise by bringing about an end to the war in Ukraine, he's put out a new plea to Russian President Vladimir Putin after a deadly Russian series of attacks on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv and other cities early Thursday morning. The president calling out Putin by his first name in a post on his Truth Social platform, saying, "I am not happy with the Russian strikes on Kyiv. Not necessary and very bad timing." Then 2 words and an exclamation point. Vladimir, stop. He then urges the Russian leader to come to a peace agreement with Ukraine. When asked by reporters about the post during a meeting with Norway's prime minister at the White House on Thursday, President Trump reiterated his displeasure over Russia's latest attack on Ukraine.
If the bombs keep falling, will you consider additional sanctions toward Russia, or what will you do if President Putin...
I'd rather answer that question in a week. I want to see if we can have a deal. No reason to answer it now, but I won't be happy. Let me put it that way. Things will happen.
Mr. President, why are you not putting more pressure on Russia? I know a lot of Europeans...
Putting a lot of pressure. You don't know what pressure I'm putting on Russia. They're dealing. You have no idea what pressure I'm putting on Russia. We're putting a lot of pressure.
President Trump added Russia has already made a pretty big concession by saying it's willing to stop the war without taking control of the entire country of Ukraine. In an interview on CBS's Face the Nation Thursday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said his country is ready to reach a peace deal.
But there are still some specific points, elements of this deal which need to be fine-tuned, and we are busy with this exact process. There are several signs that we are moving in the right direction.
Meantime, President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is set to meet with Putin in Russia today to work on the deal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted an update on X saying rescue and recovery operations are still underway after that Russian strike on Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine Thursday morning. He said at least 9 people are confirmed dead and dozens more injured. Zelensky also claimed Russia used a ballistic missile manufactured in North Korea in the deadly attack on Kyiv, calling it further proof of the criminal nature of the alliance between Russia and Pyongyang. He posted that a report from the front lines indicates there were nearly 150 Russian attacks on Ukrainian positions. China appears to have quietly rolled back its retaliatory 125% tariffs on some semiconductors made in the United States. That's according to new reporting this morning from CNN. This comes as the U.S. and China appear to be on different pages when it comes to whether a trade deal is in the works. President Trump saying Thursday administration officials have met with Chinese officials, while a Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson released a statement saying, quote, "Any claims about the progress of China-U.S. trade negotiations are groundless as trying to catch the wind and have no factual basis." Earlier this week, the president told reporters everything's active when asked if he was engaging with China. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said there were no formal negotiations ongoing, but there is an opportunity for a big deal as the U.S. is looking to rebalance and have more American manufacturing. On April 12th, China raised its reciprocal tariffs on American goods to 125% in response to President Trump's move, slapping 145% tariffs on Chinese products coming into the U.S. A federal judge has halted parts of President Trump's plans to overhaul elections in the United States, including the requirement to provide proof of citizenship to register to vote. In her 120-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Colleen Colter-Cotelli called the executive order an attempt to short-circuit Congress's deliberative process by executive order. She also blocked the part of the order saying elections officials must assess the citizenship of anyone who receives public assistance before allowing them to register, and barred the Election Assistance Commission from withholding federal funding from states that did not comply with the order. Two parts of President Trump's executive order are allowed to continue for now. They relate to the enforcement of pre-existing laws. One orders the Department of Homeland Security and the State Department to make voting databases accessible to the Department of Government Efficiency to identify non-citizens who are registered to vote. The other directs the Department of Justice to take action against states that do not adopt President Trump's requirement for mail-in ballots to be received by Election Day in order to be counted. The lawyers for Mahmoud Khalil are now claiming officers and agents for the Department of Homeland Security, as well as Immigration and Customs Enforcement, did not have a proper warrant when they arrested the pro-Palestinian demonstration leader at his Columbia University apartment last month. They are calling it an unlawful arrest and demanding Khalil be released. Meantime, lawyers for the Department of Homeland Security contend they served Khalil with a warrant once they took him to the ICE office in New York after his arrest. The government contends that at the time, it had reason to believe, quote, he would escape before they could obtain a warrant. Khalil, who was born in Syria, has permanent legal status in the United States and holds a green card, which allows a person to live and work in the U.S. The Trump administration is attempting to deport him for his actions during protests at the Ivy League school last year. He's currently in custody at a detention center in Louisiana. An immigration judge ruled earlier this month that Khalil can be deported on the grounds that he's a threat to American foreign policy. More fallout from the defense secretary's use of the Signal messaging app. The Associated Press is now reporting that Pete Hegseth had an internet connection set up in his office that bypassed Pentagon security in order to use the Signal app on his personal computer. The AP report indicates that this raises concerns that sensitive Defense Department information might have been at risk of getting hacked because the line connects directly to the public internet, which does not have the same filters or security that a Pentagon-secured connection would have. One expert told the AP the advantage of using such a line is that the user would not show up as one of the many internet addresses from the Defense Department. He would essentially be masked. Hegseth has been under fire for 2 previous chats on the Signal app about impending U.S. military strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. Despite the criticism and some calls for Hegseth's resignation, President Trump has given the defense secretary his full support. The 2025 NFL Draft is off to an exciting start, with lots of wheeling and dealing going on behind the scenes. Straight Arrow News sports anchor Chris Francis has a look at this year's top picks.
The crown jewel of the NFL offseason is underway. Thursday night in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 32 players are joining the league during the first round of the annual draft, and it didn't take long for the first big trade to go down. But first, let's talk about the fans and the crowd. 250,000 people expected to attend over 3 days, which nearly triples the population of the city of Green Bay. Commissioner Goodell opened the festivities by riding a bike on stage, recreating a tradition that takes place during Packers training camp. The #1 overall pick decided weeks ago, it seems. The Tennessee Titans and new general manager Mike Borgonzi rebuffed every trade offer for the pick because they believe they've found their franchise quarterback in Miami's Cam Ward. Ward started his college career playing 2 seasons at Incarnate Word, a small school in San Antonio, Texas. Then he made full use of the power of the transfer portal and NIL payments as he headed to Washington State. After 2 seasons in Pullman, he finished his career at Miami, where he resurrected the Hurricanes' offense, throwing for over 4,300 yards and 39 touchdowns. The big shock came as Cam Ward was walking to the stage. The Cleveland Browns traded the 2nd pick to Jacksonville and moved down to number 5. The Jags moved up and took Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter, the 2-way star who played both receiver and cornerback full-time at Colorado. Jacksonville needs a playmaker to help out quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and they gave the Browns their first-round pick in 2026, among others, to get Hunter.
The crazy part is I had no conversation with them outside of the combine, so I didn't know what to expect, and I'm excited that they came and picked me. I wanted to cry, but I can't cry right now because I'm too excited.
Things got back to as expected with the third pick as the Giants took defensive end Abdul Carter from Penn State. He had 12 sacks for the Nittany Lions last season. He actually may line up across from the New England Patriots' first-round pick this coming fall. New England took offensive tackle Will Campbell from LSU with the fourth pick. And with the fifth pick, the Browns took Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham, a game record they're going to pair with Myles Garrett to make that defense even stronger. At number 6, the running back that general manager John Spytek's 10-year-old son demanded the Raiders draft, Heisman runner-up Ashton Genty. Pete Carroll has the running back he'll build his offense around. Think Marshawn Lynch and Chris Carson. And the New York Jets got the anchor for their offensive line with Missouri tackle Armand Membu, who stands 6'4" and weighs 330 pounds, the protector for new quarterback Justin Fields.
Our Chris Francis reporting one notable player who was not selected, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who was a possibility for the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 21. It seemed likely based on many mock drafts, but the Steelers ultimately took Oregon defensive tackle Derek Harmon. The second and third rounds of the draft kick off at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. The NFL draft wraps up Saturday with rounds 4 through 7. I gotta say, Travis Hunter and that double-breasted pink blazer, wow, risky but cool. I will not try that on Straight Arrow News, that I guarantee you. So even though Unbiased Updates will not be back until Monday, you can keep up with all the latest developments from the 2025 draft, as well as what's going on around the world on our website, san.com. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great weekend.